Throughout the centuries, there have been books, articles, and movies depicting a mysteriously lost city, commonly referred to as the City of Atlantis. Described in two of Plato's dialogues, titled Timaeus and Critias, the island was said to be technologically and socially advanced. Are the writings true? Was there an island that contained deep secrets? Let's learn more about Atlantis in this episode of the Faith and Mystery Files. We'll begin with the first recorded accounts of the city of Atlantis. Around 360 BC, Plato, a well-known Greek philosopher, wrote two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. During Plato's time, dialogues were somewhat common, as they were written accounts of real-time conversations. Plato wrote two interesting dialogues, in which Socrates, Hermocrates, Critias, and a few others had a conversation about history that hadn't been written down before. In the dialogue, a man named Timaeus is the main speaker. Before Timaeus was about to speak, Critias told the group about a mysterious island that was once located in the Atlantic Ocean. In the dialogue, it states that the island was bigger than Africa and Asia together, and it was possible in those days for travelers to get from there to the other islands, and from the islands to the entire adjacent continent which surrounds that real ocean. Plato continued writing down more of the conversation, in which others among the group stated that Atlantis was one of the strongest nations after the flood. They said that this nation ruled much of the known land. The people were skilled warriors and led Greek military units into battle. It was also mentioned that the people possibly protected other nations from becoming under the power of ruthless groups. Atlantis is said to have ruled from Africa to Europe, specifically from Egypt to the top of Italy. Yet in one day, the entire island was destroyed. An earthquake came that was so large and disruptive that the entire island and inhabitants were suddenly swallowed by the earth, and the island of Atlantis, in like manner, sank beneath the sea and disappeared. Because of this, the sea in those parts has now become impassable and unnavigable, as it is blocked just below the surface by mud which was left by the island as it sank. In this dialogue, Critias had given the short version of the events another member, Solon, had recounted some time before. The members went on further to discuss other details they were told about the event, from which they had learned during childhood or from what they remembered. Plato then wrote about the speech Timaeus was asked to give concerning the group's thoughts on when the earth came into existence. Other than Plato's works, are there any other records of a real Atlantis? There are a few sources that have mentioned a large mysterious island. Many have described similar features of Atlantis with other named locations that have been destroyed in similar manners. For example, Homer, a Greek poet, wrote in the 8th century about an island called Scheria, which was thought by several to be Atlantis but with a different name. Around 700 BC, a historian by the name of Hesiod also wrote of an island he called Hesperides, stating that the large island disappeared under mysterious circumstances. The Greek historian Thucydides wrote in 400 BC about an empire in the Atlantic Ocean. The well-known Christian author Tertullian stated that he agreed with Plato, saying that Atlantis was bigger than Libya and Asia combined. In 1669, a German scholar by the name of Athanasius Kircher created a map of the known world at the time, with Atlantis being in the direct middle of the Atlantic Ocean. There are various scholars today that consider Malta as the foremost location of Atlantis, as it was destroyed by a tsunami and earthquake. Is the city of Atlantis real? Is Malta the location of Atlantis, or is it a different nation all on its own? Let's take a look at some of the features surrounding the description of Atlantis. First, Atlantis is described as being a very large island that helped connect different continents. It was named Atlantis as it was located on or near the Atlantic Ocean. Some have suggested that it could have been near the Rock of Gibraltar. while others insist it was located near the Mediterranean. Areas such as the Azores and Cadiz are also said to be the original location of the island. However, in the dialogues written by Plato, the members insisted that the city was located in a place that was impassable by ships, as the mud covered the entire area from when the city descended into the ocean. Another important fact to note is that the people were mighty warriors and had great influence over other nations during that time. It is also stated that Solon traveled to Egypt at one point and was told by an Egyptian priest about a nation called Atlantis, very similar to the one that his grandfather had told him. Is there any evidence pointing to the existence of Atlantis? Many say that no one has ever found any actual evidence of a city called Atlantis. However, there is one man that is believed to have found the location of where the island could have been. In 1970, a Scottish researcher named Jim M. Allen, who had worked for the Royal British Air Force as a satellite mapper, was intrigued by the story of Atlantis. With his skills as a mapper, he came across an interesting area near the Altiplano in Bolivia. He traveled to Bolivia and located a section that had a seemingly deformed volcano, which was 50 stades, or about 30,000 feet from the sea. The area was strangely flat, except for a misshaped or destroyed volcano. Jim Allen pointed out that the area was enclosed by a mountainous region and contained various metals, including a rare metal called orichalcum. This metal is a mixture of gold and copper that mysteriously can only be found in the Andes Mountains. It was a metal that Plato talked about further within the Timaeus dialogue. Additionally, there were straight canals found within the area that others could not explain as to how they got there. Yet these canals correspond with Plato's account in his dialogue. What does this mean? Could South America be Atlantis? The argument could be made that South America is larger than Libya and Asia combined. Does it match the descriptions of Atlantis as written by Plato? What do you think? Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Faith and Mystery Files. If you would like to learn more about other intriguing mysteries, check out our previous episodes. We also appreciate the likes, comments, and those that have taken the time to subscribe. It really helps our channel grow. Thank you again, and may God bless you.